One of these days, I'm going to bring my kids to one of these conferences so they can hear me be introduced and see how important Dad is, because I'm not important at home at all. I'm pleased to be here this afternoon to introduce a new segment that I hope will become part of the tradition of these CMLS conferences. This is a great community of people that we have that are part of CMLS, and we thought it would be neat to have the opportunity throughout the course of the next 2 days to meet some of the individuals that make up our community. This idea was born by a concept that David Sharon brought to our strategic planning meeting in December, where he conducted a series of 5 or 6 interviews, about 10 minutes long, and we got a chance to kind of learn a little bit about the home life and hobbies and whatnot of our different CMLS directors. So once we saw that, David and some of the board members started talking about, wow, what a great concept this would be to bring it to the CMLS conference. So we're going to kick it off here with the first one, and I think we've got 5 scheduled for the next 2 days. So we're looking forward to getting to know some of the people in our community a little better. So with that, I'd like to welcome to the stage the CEO of the Baldwin County Association of Realtors and MLS, Shelia Dodson. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, and you?
You're so brave to be our first interviewee of this new program.
Yes, I didn't know that when they asked me to, will you help us? Sure. Then you get the title. Don't think so.
Well, thank you for volunteering. So Baldwin County, that's on the Gulf Coast of Alabama?
It is. It's a very large county. It's bigger than Rhode Island, to give you perspective.
Oh, wow.
And it's bordered between Mobile Bay and the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh,
and
great.
Right at the panhandle of Florida.
So Florabama, is that the
That's it.
That's the area.
That's what everybody knows.
Have you been to the Florabama bar?
I have.
That sounds like a good time. I've never been there, but yeah. I know Kenny Chesney played a big concert there recently.
Yeah,
so.
Everybody knows that one.
Yeah.
So
you've been there for 4 or 5 years now?
Not quite 4.
Not quite 4?
I went there 3.5 years ago from the Coastal Association in Maryland.
In Maryland?
Yeah.
Well, some fans of yours from there. That seems like a big change, going from Maryland to Alabama.
It was.
Yeah.
It was, and the first year was a little disconcerting.
Yeah.
There are a lot of similarities. I moved from the eastern shore of Maryland to the eastern shore of Alabama.
Okay.
So still surrounded by water.
The water was on the same side.
Got the water, just a gulf versus an ocean, and the bay is a lot smaller than the Chesapeake Bay, Mobile Bay is, but those similarities were good. Resort market versus traditional market. Southern culture versus being a Yankee.
Yeah. You crossed the Mason-Dixon line.
I did. Well, actually, where I lived in Maryland, I was below the Mason-Dixon line by 7 miles.
Okay.
So those things count.
So now you're a Southerner.
So I am a Southerner by some, but a lot of my board calls me, affectionately they say, the damn Yankee. So I can't quite fit into either side.
Yeah, wow, you're stuck.
It's okay, I'm me. It's all right.
Well, you got to get that twang going in your accent, and then you can be a real Southerner.
Yeah, well.
So what are some of the things you've done since you've been there? Have you changed a lot?
Well, there's been a lot of change since I've been there, yes. We went in and there was a legacy system that the association had to run their MLS for about 20 years.
Yeah.
So my 3rd year in, we did a big transition to a new MLS system.
Yeah.
We brought in automated showing systems, brought in a new lockbox system.
Wow. Online
forms, a lot of different things.
In 4 years you've done all this?
In 3.
In 3 years?
Yes, in 3 years.
I don't see any wounds. That's pretty.
Yeah, I have a great group of leaders. An AE, I heard it earlier, David made a point of saying, an AE can cast a vision. He's got to get the requisite funding, the requisite people to buy into it.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I had excellent leadership that was ready for change, ready to embrace, wanted something new, and went right along with it. Without it, it's very difficult for any MLS exec to make change because our industry does not accept change.
Yeah.
We know that. As humans, we don't accept it.
What was
but
the hardest
our industry
thing?
can be tough.
What was of all these things you changed, what was the hardest thing? They were all hard.
Yeah, I mean, they all have their challenges and their good points.
Yeah.
The adoption for each of them is the challenge.
Yeah.
Getting people used to the change, accepting the change, and realizing the decision to make changes for their benefit
Yeah.
and not against them.
Yeah.
Getting that personal component that this really isn't, this is here to help you, not
Yeah.
harm you,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Good. There's a couple pictures on the screen here that you sent in. Tell me a little bit about these pictures. The one on the left there with the sold sign, who are those folks?
Okay, those are just some of our members. I don't know two of the people in that, but I'm sure in every market this is a common occurrence that realtors go to settlement and they post pictures of it,
Yeah.
announcing what they've achieved, and you see these happy faces and those type of things. And I was asked to submit pictures that sort of relayed what I thought of professional from that. And so each time I see one of those posted, it gives me just a little bit of joy, because knowing that in some small way, what I do day in and day out help those two people accomplish the American dream, homeownership. I believe strongly in homeownership, and an MLS is the basis for that, for working for thousands of professionals that help people obtain that. And I truly believe if we didn't have that database of facts and figures and things, that homeownership might not be as possible as it is today.
That comment right there, that having that foundation, that's the perfect foundation to me to be in your position. I mean, the fact that you're coming from your belief in homeownership, I mean, that can guide every decision you make to help everybody achieve that, right? I mean, that's, you don't often hear that when you talk about, how did you get into this role and what are the most important things to you in this role? So that's really pleasing to hear.
Thank you.
And who's the gal, the cutie in the pink there?
Yeah, that lady should be an inspiration to all of us. Her name is Dot Yeager.
Yeah.
She's 95 years old.
Wow, she looks
and
great.
she's still actively selling real estate.
Wow, that's great.
And yes, she deserves it.
That's great.
And that picture was taken recently at an award ceremony we had for Lifetime Achievement. And
she's deserving of that.
she is, and she's spunky, and she's done it all. She's county council, she's had the city named a day after her.
Wow, that's
And
cool.
she's still active. And when we converted to the new MLS system, her broker called me and said, Dot Yeager is not coming for training. And I said, well, everyone is required to come for training. We won't give her her login and passwords unless she comes in. I don't care, she's not coming for training. And I said, well, that's okay, because fortunately our new system has a student identity, and you can let the admins help her as they've always been doing. So
You're brave.
there's always a challenge, there's always an opportunity, but you have to have fairness. But she's a special lady, and like I say, she's an inspiration to be 95 years old
That's
and
fantastic.
still doing what she believes in, and
Yeah.
be productive.
That's awesome. And the
So-
Jim Collins quote there?
Well, get involved in something that you care so much about that you want to make it the greatest it can possibly be. Not because of what you'll get, but just because it can be done. And that sums it up. When you have change, you have conflict. And if you don't know that the conflict is coming, but understand why it's necessary, there's no decision that our board or myself or any of our staff makes that doesn't put that member first.
Yeah.
That's what's important. They're the boots on the ground. They're the people that make this industry work. They're the data points for each and every person that has. And anything that I can do to make it better is going to fulfill that dream of those two young people and many others like them, to be able to have something that they can invest in, have shelter, and build wealth in this country that a lot of countries don't have. So whatever I can do to make it better is what I want to do.
That's awesome, and that's a perfect quote for you. You're not running an MLS system, you're running the key to making their dreams come true with homeownership. That's fantastic. Where's our other picture? There was a great picture of you holding a little girl. I don't know if they have it anymore, but who is the little girl in the picture?
The little girl is one of my grandchildren.
Yeah? How many
And
grandchildren do you have?
I have 7.
Wow.
7 grandchildren. Yeah, I have 3
That's
daughters,
fun.
7 grandchildren, and
So not only did you do all that stuff in 3 years, you raised 3 daughters.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they moved one of my daughters moved to South Alabama with us, so that was very good. It helped the transition for me a lot to have some family. And she was going to preschool nearby my office. And my husband had gone to pick her up, and she came over to the office and to see me, which is always exciting to get a little break when a little 4-year-old, 5-year-olds comes running in to see you. But she was tired. And I actually was talking to my MLS director at the time when she came in, and she came and crawled in my lap, and we were talking back and forth. He got up and left, and I realized she was sound asleep in my lap.
It's a great picture.
And
I wish
so,
we had it.
yeah,
Really cute.
it was just a good reminder, the personal picture. That little girl, one day, I hope I'm going by example, you can lead.
Yeah.
You can be part of a process that helps a lot of people, thousands of people. And at the same token, you have this possibility to own a home of your own one day.
Yeah.
And if I can embed that now into my grandchildren,
Yeah.
as I have my own children, then that's part of making it better.
Yeah.
It's part of doing what you believe and helping others to move forward.
That's awesome. What's your favorite thing to do with the grandkids?
My favorite thing to do with my grandchildren is probably be in the pool with them.
Yeah.
They love to swim and
Yeah.
all those things. So
Yeah.
that, or just sit in the dark and watch a movie.
That's great.
There's some of the things we do. Boat riding, all of it. There's just too many things.
Yeah.
You have a grandchild, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
For those of you who have it, you know what I'm talking about. Those that you don't, look forward to it.
And you can
Nothing
give
better.
it back. That's the best part, right?
But
At
you
the end of
don't-
the day. Good.
Yep. The tough times, go back to mom and dad. But
Yeah. Yeah.
good things are here.
That sounds fun. Well, one last question, since you're in Alabama now.
Oh, no.
Roll
I know
Tide
what's
or War Eagle?
coming.
Roll
Oh.
Tide or War Eagle? Which one?
Well, I'll tell you what I told the search committee. My husband told me to bone up on football. And I said, these people don't care what I know about football. They want to know what I know about running a realtor at an MLS association. Sure enough, they asked me, and I said, well, football's big in Maryland, but it's pro ball. The Ravens are there. I said, but I really don't know a lot about college ball. But my favorite color is red. Does that help any? So that's what I say about college ball. That's where I am.
Roll Tide.
So that's the way it is.
That's great. Well, thank you for being brave and facing into the wind, as our Apache pilot told us, and being first. And it was really nice to meet you and spend some time on the stage with you. So
Same.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.